How did one finding myself break turn into me getting served papers in a bright public lobby while everyone watched me freeze? Why did my husband look calm when the clerk read out temporary rules that started that same day? What do you do when you realize the baby timeline is not a feeling, it is math? My name is Melisande Carter, and people call me Meli because it sounds soft and easy. I was 34 then. I worked as a marketing coordinator for a home services company. My job was emails, posts, little campaigns, and making problems look simple. I was good at that. I also thought I was good at marriage, but only when it made me feel important. That week, I started saying one sentence again and again. I said I needed time to find myself. I said it like it was a medical thing. I said it like Ethan should respect it the same way you respect a bandage. It was a Tuesday night in our kitchen. The light over the sink made everything look clean, even when it was not. Ethan stood by the counter with 2 mugs. He asked what time meant, and he asked how long. I said he was focusing on numbers, and I said he did not listen to my feelings. He asked if I wanted counseling. I said therapy was not a magic trick, and he could not send me to a room and call it love. He tried to stay calm. That made me angry in a quiet way. I wanted him to panic. Panic would prove he needed me. Calm made me feel like I was not the main character. Ethan asked if there was someone else. His voice stayed low, like Nora might hear from the hallway. I laughed once and made it sound like he was silly. I said he always jumped to the worst story. I said it was unfair to accuse me of cheating when I was trying to grow. I even told him his insecurity was part of why I felt trapped. I watched his face change. I told myself it was not my fault. Nora came into the kitchen in her socks, dragging her blanket. She asked why we were talking so much. Ethan told her it was adult stuff and she was safe. I told her I just needed to rest my heart. I use the word heart because it sounds kind. It also sounds like a reason no one can argue with. After Nora went back to bed, Ethan asked about a plan. He asked where I would sleep. He asked when I would see Nora. I said I did not know. I said pressure made me shut down. I said if he loved me, he would give me space without rules. He stared at the fridge for a moment, like he was reading a list that was not there. I went upstairs and opened the closet. I packed slowly. I chose the weekend bag because it looked temporary. I folded my clothes like I was going on a short trip, not leaving my family. My hands did not shake, and I felt proud of that. I told myself it meant I was strong. Ethan stood in the doorway. He asked if I was moving out. I said I was not moving out, and I said he was using dramatic words. I said I needed a break from the tension. He asked what tension, and I said he was making me explain my pain like a report. On the dresser, I saw his phone light up. The screen showed a reminder. It only said, "Meeting personal." There was no name. There was no place. Ethan picked up the phone fast and turned it face down. He did not look guilty. He looked tired. I told myself it was proof he was hiding something too. That thought helped me breathe. In the morning, we did the school routine like robots. Nora ate cereal and asked if I would be at pickup. Ethan said maybe. I told Nora I might be at Aunt Paige's for a little. Nora asked if she did something wrong. I said no and kissed her hair. I felt a sharp moment in my chest, then I pushed it away. I told myself kids adjust. People always say that. At the school pickup line, parents sat in cars like they lived in boxes. When Nora ran out, she ran to Ethan first. She grabbed his hand. She did not even look at me at first. It made my face hot. I told myself it was because Ethan spoiled her with calm. I did not tell myself the obvious thing, which was that she felt safer with him. In the car, Ethan asked if we could talk later without Nora. I said we could talk, but he had to promise to stay gentle. I said that because it made him sound dangerous without me saying it. He nodded and said he would. He asked again where I was going. I said it did not matter because I was not his prisoner. I watched his jaw tighten. I felt powerful for a second. I drove to my sister Paige's apartment after work. Paige lived in a small place with bright pillows and a loud laugh. She opened the door before I knocked, like she had been waiting behind it. She asked if I was finally free. I said I was not free, and I said I was healing. She hugged me and told me I deserved more than a man who questioned me. I did not correct her. I liked how she said it. It made my choice sound like a rescue. Paige poured wine into 2 glasses. She asked what Ethan did when I told him. I said he acted cold. I said he cared more about rules than love. I said he wanted me to schedule my feelings. Paige shook her head like Ethan was a bad boss. She told me I should post something about boundaries. She said people respect women who choose themselves. I opened my phone and went to our friend group chat. Tessa sent a message asking if I was okay. Janelle asked if Ethan was being weird. I typed fast. I said I was taking space because Ethan did not support my growth. I said he kept pressing me. I said I felt smothered. I did not write that he asked about Nora and logistics. I did not write that he asked for counseling. Those parts did not help the story. That night, Ethan called. Paige rolled her eyes like he was a spam number. I answered and put him on speaker because I wanted Paige to hear him. Ethan asked if I could bring Nora's jacket back from my car because the weather was changing. I said he always found excuses to contact me. I said I needed peace. Ethan paused. Then he said, okay, and he said he would buy another jacket if needed. His voice stayed flat. After the call, Paige said Ethan was playing mind games. She said he wanted to make me look irresponsible. I nodded. I let her build the idea for me. It felt better than looking at my own choices. When I finally lay on Paige's couch, I stared at the ceiling. I told myself I was not doing anything wrong. I told myself a break was not cheating. I told myself Ethan had pushed me here by being too serious. I repeated those lines until they sounded like truth. At some point, my phone buzzed with a new message preview from an unknown number. I did not open it right away. I just watched the screen glow and fade in the dark, and I let myself believe it meant the world was still paying attention to me. The next morning, I woke up on Paige's couch with a stiff neck and a light headache. Paige asked if I slept well. I said yes and acted like I was calm. My phone still showed that unknown number message. I opened it while Paige made coffee. It was not romantic. It was a simple promo text from some store. I felt annoyed, like the world owed me a better sign. I drove to work early on purpose. I wanted to look responsible. I wanted to look like a woman with a plan. In the open plan office, people could see everything, even when they pretended they did not. Janelle waved me over near the break room. She asked if I was okay. I said I was starting a new chapter, and it felt hard but right. She asked if Ethan was angry. I said he was acting cold and controlling, and I said he kept pressing me for answers. I did not say he asked for counseling. I did not say he asked how to keep Nora steady. Those details would make him look human, and I did not want that. Around mid-morning, my manager asked if I could handle a small campaign for a holiday push. I said yes with a smile. I liked the feeling of being needed. It made my home mess look like a side issue, like I was still winning somewhere. At my desk, I opened a spreadsheet for work, but I kept checking my phone. Ethan's name appeared once, then again. I waited before I replied. I told myself I needed boundaries. The truth was, I liked the proof that he still chased me. When I finally answered, he asked if I could confirm the pickup plan for Nora. I said he was turning our family into a schedule. He said Nora needed routine. I said he was using Nora to control me. He got quiet, and then he said he would pick her up and drop her off as usual. His voice sounded steady, which bothered me. I wanted him to sound broken. At lunch, I left the office and went to a co-working cafe near the river. I told people I needed a change of space for my brain. It sounded professional. It also gave me a reason to be seen somewhere else. The cafe had long tables and people with laptops and soft music. I picked a spot where the light hit my face in a nice way. I ordered a fancy coffee I did not need. I posted a photo of the cup with a caption about healing and growth. I watched the likes come in. Each little heart felt like a vote. That was where I saw Colby again. I had met him once before at a small local brand event. He did short videos for companies. He looked like a man who always knew where he should stand in a room. He walked in with a camera bag and a relaxed smile. He noticed me, came over, and asked how my week was going. I said it was messy but exciting, like I was stepping into my real life. I liked how he listened with wide eyes, like my problems were a movie. He asked what I worked on. I said marketing. He asked if I ever needed content help. I said maybe. He said he liked filming reset stories. I told him I was in one. He asked if I was married. I paused for half a second, then said I was taking time to find myself. I made it sound like my marriage was a heavy coat I had outgrown. Colby asked if I wanted to take a short walk for fresh air and talk ideas. I said yes because it felt harmless. It felt like a business thing. Also, I wanted someone to look at me like I was new. We walked along the riverside promenade, where people passed with dogs and shopping bags. Colby asked if Ethan supported my dreams. I said Ethan was practical and sometimes made me feel small. That was not fully true. Ethan did support me in many ways. But practical is a word people use to hide boring. And I wanted Colby to see Ethan as boring. Colby asked if I had kids. I said I had a daughter, and she was sweet. He asked if the separation was about another person. I laughed and said people always assume that, and I said it was about me choosing myself. I did not say I liked having a man pay attention to me right now. I said what sounded clean. When we got back to the cafe, Colby asked if he could message me about a possible small project. I said yes and gave my number. I told myself it was networking. I did not call it what it was. Back at the office, I acted busy, but I kept looking at Colby's name in my phone like it was a prize. Tessa sent me a message asking if I wanted to go out that night. She said a rooftop bar had live music. I said yes fast. I wanted pictures. I wanted a crowd. I wanted to look like I was not waiting on Ethan. After work, I stopped at Paige's to change. She told me to wear something bright. She said people needed to see my glow. I chose a dress that hugged my body more than I normally would. I said I deserved to feel pretty. Paige said Ethan probably never told me that. I did not correct her. Ethan did tell me that, but Paige's version helped my story. At the rooftop bar, the air was cold and the lights were warm. Tessa took videos. Janelle joined us and talked about toxic men, like she was reading from a list. I nodded at the right times. I told them Ethan was making the separation hard. I said he kept asking for details and plans, and it made me feel judged. Tessa said I was strong. I liked hearing that word again and again. I made sure my ring was not in the shots. I held my glass with my left hand turned in. I smiled for photos. I laughed too loud. I acted free. Later, my phone buzzed again. Ethan asked if I could bring Nora's jacket back because he could not find it, and the weather report showed colder nights. I felt irritation rise. I did not want to do small helpful things. Small helpful things made me feel like a wife again, and I wanted to be a hero, not a helper. I called him back while the music played behind me. He asked if I was out. I said I was working on myself, and he should not monitor me. He said he was not monitoring. He was asking about a jacket. I said he was twisting things. He paused and then asked if I could at least answer about Nora's weekend schedule. I said I needed space, and he was crossing my boundary. He said okay, and ended the call quickly. When I put my phone down, Tessa asked what he wanted. I said he was trying to pull me back with little tasks. I said he was being needy. Tessa rolled her eyes and said I should stay firm. I felt proud, like I had passed a test. When I got back to Paige's apartment near midnight, my feet hurt. Paige asked if I had fun. I said yes. I sat on the couch and scrolled my photos. In one video, I saw myself laughing, but my eyes looked tense. I told myself it was just the lights. Before I slept, I checked my bank app and felt a small shock. The joint account balance looked different than I expected. It was not empty. It was just tighter. I told myself Ethan was being petty. I told myself he was trying to scare me. I did not know yet that he was not trying to scare me at all. He was trying to prepare. It was the weekend after the rooftop bar, and I could feel my story getting bigger than my life. People love a simple villain. They love a clean reason. I decided Ethan would be that reason, because it was easier than letting anyone look at me. Paige planned a family dinner at a big restaurant with long tables. She said it would be good to clear the air. I knew what she meant. She wanted witnesses. She wanted a stage where I could look brave, and Ethan could look wrong. I told myself it was fair because Ethan needed to understand how hurt I felt. I ignored the part where I was building a crowd to pressure him. We arrived first. My mother Diane chose the seat at the center like she owned the room. Ronald sat beside her and looked tired already. Paige sat close to me and kept checking her phone. She said she wanted to make sure everyone came. I watched her type in a group chat with Tessa and Janelle, and I liked the feeling of a team. When Ethan walked in with Nora, the room changed. He carried Nora's small jacket over his arm. He held her hand gently. He looked clean and normal, which annoyed me. He did not look like a villain. He looked like a father doing his job. Ethan greeted everyone with a quiet nod. Marla and Stephen came behind him. Marla's face was calm but tight. Stephen looked like a man who did not want to be there, but came because family matters. Grant was not there. Paige whispered that he was avoiding drama. I said that sounded like a choice to protect Ethan. Paige agreed fast. We sat. Nora sat between Ethan and Marla. That also annoyed me. I wanted Nora close to me so people would see me as the center. Nora leaned into Ethan when a waiter came by. Ethan helped her with her napkin. My mother watched and made a small sound, like she had a comment ready. The food came, and the talk started polite. I did not like polite. Polite does not feed sympathy. Ethan asked if we could talk privately sometime this week about a routine for Nora. He said it was important for her. I laughed lightly and said he was turning love into a schedule. I said he was acting like a manager, not a husband. I made it sound like a joke so everyone would laugh with me. Diane did laugh. Paige laughed too. Some people smiled because they did not know what else to do. Ethan's face stayed still. He asked why I was making it public. I said there was nothing to hide and families should support truth. I said secrecy was how control worked. I watched Marla's eyes narrow. She did not speak, but her body leaned toward Nora, like she was shielding her. Diane said she was proud of me for choosing myself. She said women in her time had to stay quiet, and now I did not. She looked at Ethan when she said it. It was like she was daring him to argue. Ethan did not. He looked at Nora's plate and asked if she wanted more water. That calm made me feel like I had to push harder. If Ethan stayed calm, my performance would look cruel. So I turned my tone sweet, like honey, and made my words sharp. I said I had been lonely for years. I said Ethan cared more about being right than being kind. I said he asked questions like an investigator. I said it was exhausting. I did not say he asked questions because I gave him nothing. I did not say I enjoyed watching him guess. Ethan asked what I meant by lonely. He asked when I felt that way. I said he was demanding proof of my feelings. I said that was exactly the problem. I watched Ronald swallow and stare at his plate. He looked like he wanted to disappear. Paige jumped in and said Ethan always needed control. She said I had asked for space and he kept pulling. Tessa was not there, but Paige spoke like she was reading Tessa's words anyway. Diane nodded and said a man should not be threatened by a woman finding herself. Stephen finally spoke and said Nora needed peace more than opinions. He said adults could handle their problems without turning it into a show. Diane bristled and said no one asked him. I felt a rush of satisfaction. The room was splitting, and I was the reason. It felt powerful. Ethan looked at me and asked if I would agree to a simple weekend plan for Nora. He said it could be temporary until we decided more. I said he was trying to lock me into a system. I said he wanted to make me the visitor in my own child's life. I said that loud enough for a nearby table to glance over. I wanted strangers to notice. I wanted public pressure to bend Ethan. Ethan's cheeks went red for a moment. Then he breathed out slow. He said he would not argue in front of Nora. He asked if we could stop. I said he was always trying to shut me down. I said this was why I needed space. I watched Marla tighten her lips and look away, like she was counting to 10. After dinner, we went to a park because Nora asked to play. Diane and Paige acted like it was a nice family moment, but it was not. It was a reset stage. I walked beside Ethan and kept my phone in my hand. I wanted a reason to film him if he slipped. At the playground, Nora ran to the swings. Ethan pushed her. Marla sat on a bench and watched. I stood close and acted like I was part of it, but I felt outside. Nora laughed and she looked at Ethan more than she looked at me. Nora asked why I did not sleep at home anymore. Her voice was small. Ethan told her it was adult choices and she was loved. I said grown-ups sometimes needed space to be happy. I said it was healthy. I said it like it was a lesson. Nora asked if I would come back when I was happy. I said yes, even though I did not know what yes meant anymore. On the walk back to the cars, Ethan asked where I was staying. He said it was for emergencies and for Nora's safety. I said he did not need my location. I said he was acting like I belonged to him. He said I did not, and he said he only cared about Nora's stability. His tone was flat, not begging. That made me feel less important. At the driveway exchange later, Ethan stood near his car and waited while Nora climbed in. I leaned toward the window and told Nora I loved her. I watched Ethan's hands. I wanted to see a crack. When Nora buckled, Ethan asked one more time if I could share a simple schedule for the week. I said he was obsessed with control. I said he was trying to punish me for choosing myself. Ethan looked at me for a long second, then nodded once. As he turned to close the car door, I heard a soft beep from inside his car. It sounded like a phone starting something, then stopping. Ethan did not react. He did not look at the car. He just closed the door gently. I drove back to Paige's apartment with my stomach tight. I told myself the beep meant Ethan was doing something shady. I told myself it proved my story. I did not consider that maybe he was protecting himself in a lawful way. I just felt the threat, and it made me want to win faster. That night I posted a quote about surviving control and choosing peace. I made sure it sounded vague but accusing. Friends commented with hearts and fire emojis. My mother shared it. Ethan did not react online at all. His silence looked like guilt if you already wanted to believe it. Before I fell asleep, I checked my phone and saw a missed call with no caller ID. It lasted one ring. I stared at it longer than I should have. Then I told myself it was nothing. But my chest stayed tight anyway. On Monday morning, I stood in a pharmacy aisle and tried to act normal. The fluorescent lights made everyone look tired and honest. I picked up a pregnancy test like it was toothpaste. I told myself it was just to calm my mind. I told myself stress can delay things. I also told myself that even if it was positive, it would not be a disaster. I had a strange confidence then, like the world always bends for me if I speak the right way. At the checkout, I kept my face flat. The cashier barely looked up. I felt almost offended by that. In my head, my life was a movie. In the store, I was just another woman buying a small box. I drove back to Paige's apartment and went straight to the bathroom. Paige followed me and leaned on the door frame. She asked if I was okay. I said yes and told her to give me privacy. She raised her hands like I was rude, but she stepped away. I sat on the edge of the tub and stared at the test while the seconds passed. When the results showed, my stomach dropped. I did not scream. I did not cry. I went still, like my body forgot how to move. Then my mind started working fast, faster than my feelings. The first thought was not the baby. The first thought was the story. I told myself I was not a bad person. I told myself Ethan pushed me away with his seriousness. I told myself this happened because I needed love and safety and someone to see me. I did not say the word cheating in my mind. I said break. I said space. I said finding myself. I used soft words to cover hard actions. Paige knocked and asked if I was done. I opened the door and showed her the test. Her face changed. She asked if it was Ethan's. The question landed like a slap, even though it was logical. I narrowed my eyes and said it was not her job to question me. I said she should support me, not judge me. I watched her mouth open and close. She looked confused, like she did not recognize me for a second. I went to the couch and held my phone. I stared at Colby's name. My thumb hovered. I told myself I did not owe him anything. Then I told myself he owed me, because he was part of this. Both thoughts felt true for different reasons, and I chose the one that made me feel less alone. I sent him a message and kept it simple. I said I might be pregnant and I needed to talk. I added a neutral face emoji, like that made it less serious. For a few minutes, there was nothing. I watched the screen. Paige sat beside me and tried to say something soft, but I ignored her. Colby replied late. He asked if I was sure. He asked if I went to a doctor. The words felt cold. I wanted him to sound concerned, like a hero. I wanted him to say he would stand with me. Instead, he sounded like a man checking risk. I told myself that was fine. I told myself men panic. I told myself I could manage him like I managed my work clients. I replied that I was sure and I needed to see him soon. After that, I called Ethan. I chose the time carefully. It was early evening when he would be home with Nora. I wanted him to hear the news while he held the normal life I left. I wanted impact. When he answered, his voice was calm. He asked if Nora was okay with me. I said she was not with me. I said I needed to tell him something important. I told him I was pregnant. There was a pause, but not a dramatic one. Ethan asked how far along I thought I was. He asked when my last cycle started. He asked if I had seen a doctor. His questions were quiet and simple. That made my skin prickle. He did not say congratulations. He did not say he loved me. He went straight to dates. I snapped at him. I said he was being cruel. I said he was interrogating a pregnant woman. I said he had no heart. Ethan said he was not trying to hurt me. He said he needed to understand because it affected Nora and the future. I heard my own breathing get faster. In my mind, his calm sounded like judgment. Ethan asked if the baby was his. He did not raise his voice. He did not accuse me with anger. He just asked. That was worse, because it made the question look reasonable. I said he was disgusting for even thinking that. I said I would never do that to our family. I said his insecurity was the reason I needed space. I said he made me feel like a criminal. I knew I was lying, but I told myself it was a protective lie. I told myself it was for peace. Ethan went quiet again. Then he said he wanted to meet in a public place to talk about Nora's schedule and the pregnancy plan. He said he would not fight. He said he wanted clarity. I said he was trying to control the situation. He said he was trying to keep it stable. His tone did not change. After the call, Paige asked what he said. I told her Ethan was attacking me. I said he questioned the baby and made me feel unsafe. Paige's face tightened. She said Ethan was a jerk. I nodded and let that word sit there, because it helped me. The next day, we had a pediatrician appointment for Nora that had been planned for weeks. We met in the waiting room. The room smelled like hand sanitizer and crayons. Kids played with worn toys. Ethan sat straight with Nora's forms in a folder. The folder had neat tabs. I hated how neat it was. It looked like control. Ethan asked if I was feeling okay. I said I was fine and he should not pretend to care now. He asked if we could keep the appointment calm for Nora. I said he was always performing for strangers. He did not answer. He just helped Nora color on a paper. In the waiting room, Ethan asked if Nora could stay with him more often for a while. He said my living situation was changing, and Nora needed one base. I heard the words as an attack. I said he was trying to take my child. I said he was using the pregnancy to steal Nora. A mother across the room looked up. I felt a small thrill that someone noticed. Then I felt shame and pushed it away. Ethan said he was not stealing anyone. He said he wanted a schedule. He said we could write it down and follow it, so Nora would not wonder every day. I said writing it down made it cold. I said love is not a spreadsheet. Ethan looked at the floor, like he was counting his patience. When the nurse called Nora's name, Ethan stood first and guided her gently. Nora took his hand without thinking. I watched that and felt a sharp jealousy. I told myself it was because Ethan had turned her against me. I did not tell myself that my choices did it. After the appointment, I stood near the exit and checked my phone. Colby had not replied again. I stared at the last message, then refreshed the screen, like that would change reality. Ethan asked if I was okay. I said he should worry about himself. In the parking lot, Ethan asked one more time about the timeline. He asked when I left home, and he asked when the baby might have been conceived. His voice stayed controlled. My voice did not. I said he was obsessed and sick. I said he wanted to punish me because I wanted happiness. Ethan did not argue. He just nodded once, like he was accepting a fact, not my words. Then he walked Nora to his car. I watched them leave, and for the first time my confidence cracked. I felt the fear under my story. I felt how thin my words were compared to dates, and I hated that feeling more than anything. 2 days after the pediatrician visit, I met Colby at the same co-working cafe by the river. I picked that place because it looked modern and harmless. If anyone saw us, it would look like work. I told myself I was smart for choosing it. I also told myself Ethan had no right to judge me, because he pushed me away. I kept repeating that line like it was a password. Colby arrived 10 minutes late. He wore a jacket that looked new and expensive, like his life was not changing. He sat across from me and did not touch my hand. He asked how I was feeling. I said I was fine, and I needed solutions, not sympathy. I wanted him to feel small for not being warm. He asked what I wanted to do. He asked if I was sure the baby was his. His words sounded careful, like he was stepping around a hole. My chest tightened. I said it was probably his, because I was not with Ethan during that time. I said it like that made it clean. Colby looked at the table and said he did not want drama. He said he did not want to be dragged into a marriage problem. He said he barely knew Ethan, and he did not want conflict. He said he had work and travel coming up. He said he was not ready. I felt heat rise behind my eyes. I wanted to shout, but I kept my voice low. I told him he was being childish. I said adults face consequences. I said he enjoyed my attention when it was fun, but now he wanted to vanish. Colby asked if I could lower my voice. I noticed a woman at the next table glance over. That embarrassed me, so I forced a smile. Colby said he could not promise anything. He said he needed time to think. I laughed sharply and said time was my word, not his. I said I was the one who needed time first, and now he wanted it. He stood up, put money on the table, and said he had to go. He said he hoped things worked out. Then he walked away like it was a simple meeting. I stared after him. I told myself he was selfish. I told myself men always run when life gets real. I did not tell myself that I chose this man because he was light and careless. I chose him because he did not ask for truth. Now, he was acting exactly like the person I picked. On the way back to Pages, I checked my bank app again. The joint account was still there, but it felt like a door that was slowly closing. Some auto payments had been moved. The balance stayed steady in a way that felt controlled. I told myself Ethan was trying to scare me. I told myself he was punishing me with money. I did not consider that he was protecting Nora's stability, because that would make his actions look reasonable. That evening, I drove to the Carter house to talk. Really, I wanted to test Ethan. I wanted to push him into an emotional reaction so I could feel in control again. I also wanted to see the house, to remind myself it was still partly mine. The kitchen looked the same, but the air felt different. There were 2 mugs on the counter again, placed far apart. Nora's drawings were on the fridge, but now they were organized in neat rows. Ethan had always been neat, but this looked like a new level. It looked like someone trying to keep life from falling. Ethan asked why I came. I said I needed to discuss finances and the pregnancy. I said I needed support. I watched his face for a flicker of guilt. Ethan asked what support meant. He asked if I needed medical help, or rides, or a schedule. I did not like his calm options. They made my emotions sound messy and unnecessary. I said he knew what support meant. I said he was pretending to be confused to avoid responsibility. Ethan asked if I would sit down. I sat. He stayed standing, not looming, just steady. He asked if we could agree on a routine for Nora starting next week. He said he wanted to write it down. I said he was obsessed with writing things down. I said he wanted to build a case against me. Ethan did not argue. He asked if I could tell him, clearly, where I was living and who was around Nora. I felt my throat tighten. I said he was crossing a boundary. I said he did not own me. He said he did not. He said he only needed information to keep Nora safe and to plan properly. That word landed like a quiet warning. I tried to turn it. I said he was acting like I was dangerous. I said he was making me feel like a criminal again. I said he was stressing a pregnant woman. I said if anything happened to the baby, it would be on him. The moment the words left my mouth, I knew I had pushed too far. But I also felt a small satisfaction, because it was a cruel kind of power. Ethan's eyes changed, not to anger, but to distance. He asked if I was threatening him. I said no, and I said he always twisted my words. I said I was just saying stress was bad. Ethan nodded slowly like he was filing my sentence away. He walked to a drawer near the fridge and opened it. I heard a click like a lock. He took out nothing that I could see, just closed it again. The sound made my stomach drop. I told myself it was just bills, but my mind kept seeing folders and tabs. Ethan asked if I had been spending from the joint account for non-family things. I said I could spend what I needed because I was still his wife. I said he was not allowed to monitor me. Ethan said he was not monitoring, he was asking. He said he needed to separate household money from personal choices while things were unsettled. I said he was financially controlling. I use that phrase on purpose because it sounds serious. It also pulls people to my side. Ethan asked if I would join him for one meeting with a counselor. I said I did not need therapy to know I was unhappy. I said he wanted a professional to tell me I was wrong. He said he wanted a professional to help us plan for Nora without fighting. I heard the difference, and I hated it. Nora came into the kitchen with her backpack because Ethan was about to take her to her mom's house for a short visit. She looked at my stomach, then looked away. She asked if the baby would live with us. Her voice was careful, like she was stepping on glass. I smiled too wide and said, of course, the baby would be family. Ethan told Nora they would make a safe plan for everyone. He said it in a calm voice that sounded adult. I felt replaced by the word safe, like he was building a world where I was not needed. When Nora went to put on her shoes, I told Ethan he was acting like a robot. I said he was cold. I said he did not care about me at all. Ethan looked at me for a long moment. Then he said he would handle it properly. He did not say it like a threat. He said it like a decision. He picked up Nora's school folder and his keys. His phone buzzed, and I saw a message preview with the subject line, "Follow up." He turned the screen away without panic, like it was normal. I stood there in the kitchen with my hands stiff at my sides. For the first time, my words did not feel like tools. They felt like noise. Ethan walked out with Nora, calm and lawful and done reacting, and I felt the ground under my story start to shift. I told myself Ethan's properly line was just drama. I told Paige he was trying to scare me with grown-up words. Paige said I should not let him win the narrative. My mother said a husband could not just drop papers on a pregnant wife like that. I nodded like I believed them. Still, I kept replaying the click of that drawer in my head and the way Ethan looked past my face, like he was done reading me. 2 mornings later, I got a message from Ethan. He said we needed to meet in a public building lobby to finalize a temporary schedule for Nora and discuss finances. He said it would be quick. He said Nora would be with him. I read that and felt offended, like he was setting the stage without asking my permission. I showed up wearing my nicest coat, the one that makes me look reasonable. Paige wanted to come, but I told her to wait nearby. I wanted the spotlight on me, not on her. I walked into the lobby and saw Ethan across the room. He stood near a bench with Nora's backpack beside him. Nora held a small toy and looked sleepy. Marla was there too, standing a few steps back. She did not look at me like an enemy. She looked at me like a problem she had to manage carefully. Ethan did not rush toward me. He did not ask how I was. He just nodded and asked if I was ready to talk calmly. I said I was always calm, and I said he was the one making things extreme. He said he did not want extreme. He said he wanted clear steps. Before I could start my speech, a woman in a simple blazer walked toward us with a folder. She asked if I was Melisande Carter. I said yes, and my voice sounded smaller than I wanted. She said she had documents for me and asked me to confirm my identity. Ethan did not move. He did not smile. He looked straight ahead like he was waiting for a bus. The woman handed me the papers. I held them like they were dirty. I said, out loud, that this was cruel. I said Ethan was trying to punish me because I needed space. A few people in the lobby turned their heads. I liked that for 1 second, because it meant I was seen. Then my stomach dropped. I looked down and saw the words I did not want to see. It was a filing for divorce with temporary requests. It listed a parenting schedule for Nora starting immediately. It listed financial safeguards, like limits on certain joint spending. It also included a request tied to paternity, written in calm language, like it was a normal step when there was separation and unclear timing. My face went hot. I wanted to tell myself it was fake. I wanted to say it was a trick, but the pages were too neat. The dates were too clean. I turned to Ethan and asked how he could do this in public. He said he was not doing it in public to shame me. He said he was doing it in public to keep things calm and safe. He said he would not argue in private rooms anymore. He said he would follow the process properly. I started crying, but not because I felt sorry. I cried because I felt cornered. I said he was attacking a pregnant woman. I said he was heartless. Ethan looked at Nora and asked her to stay close to Grandma. Marla took Nora's hand and moved her a few steps away. Ethan said he was not attacking me. He said he was protecting Nora and protecting the household. He said the timeline questions mattered, and he said the system had a way to handle them without yelling. A clerk at a desk nearby called my name and asked me to step closer. I did not want to, but my legs moved anyway. The clerk spoke in a practiced voice and explained the immediate temporary rules that applied right now, pending the next date. The clerk said the parenting schedule started today. The clerk said certain joint funds could not be drained. The clerk confirmed there would be a next step later, and that the paternity determination process would be scheduled after the birth as part of the case plan. I tried to interrupt. I said Ethan was lying about me online. The clerk told me politely to lower my voice. A security guard looked over, not threatening, just present. My mother was not there to protect me with noise. Paige was not there to clap for me. It was just fluorescent light and rules. Ethan walked over to me only after the clerk finished. He asked if I understood the pickup time for Nora today. I said I could not believe he was doing this. He said he was done debating belief. He said he would communicate about Nora in writing from now on, and only about Nora. Then he turned toward Nora. Nora looked at me with a careful face, like she was checking if I would explode. Ethan asked her if she wanted a snack before they left. Nora nodded and took his hand. I stood there holding the papers, and I realized nobody in that lobby was watching Ethan like a villain. They were watching me like a person who had pushed too far and finally hit a wall.